Almost 7:30 now. Every Friday morning we go in depth with the Target 12 investigators. With the criminal trial of Aaron Thomas now underway, we check in with Tim White and Eli Sherman, who've been covering the so-called naked fat test case. They join us from South Kingstown right now with what to know about the testimony so far in this trial.
We're outside Washington County Superior Court, where the criminal trial of Aaron Thomas kicked off on Monday, or testimony in that trial kicked off on Monday. I'm joined by Target 12 investigator Eli Sherman. So far, Eli, the first week is dominated by the prosecution bringing up witnesses. What has stood out to you so far?
A couple things, Tim. One, we've heard from quite a few former students at this point, and all of their stories are very similar. They talk about coming into the coach's office, being asked to undress, to get completely naked, being asked if they're shy or not shy, and they go through these series of tests that all have sounded very similar, despite there being a range of years when they were going through them. The second thing is that the prosecution is really trying to paint Aaron Thomas as a liar. We heard from former Superintendent Phil Auger, who said that Aaron Thomas told them in 2018 that no students were ever naked. We know that not to be true.
Right.
And we're expecting to hear from police officers who also interviewed Aaron Thomas, and Aaron Thomas told them that there was no students who were naked, which we know were untrue. So those are sort of the two big things that we've been sort of hearing from prosecutors this week.
I want to peel back the curtain a little bit about how we're able to bring folks this story. It's up to a judge to allow a camera in the courtroom or not. Here, Superior Court Judge Melanie Wilk-Thunberg has said that's okay, but there are a couple of rules, right? She has asked us not to show the faces or name the former students that take the stand. Officials are okay. Former school officials, you talked about Phil Auger, police officers, so on, we can identify them. And that's really important because we are expecting Aaron Thomas to take the stand in his own defense, which is very unusual.
Absolutely, Tim. I mean, you've covered a lot of trials, and it's pretty unusual for a defendant to take the stand in their own criminal matter. But, I think we've heard from the defense that they think that this is an opportunity for Thomas to go up there to explain from himself that he really believed that this program that he set up was for the betterment of his students and for the basketball program.
But there's a risk.
And there's absolutely a risk, because it opens him up to cross-examination from the prosecutors, who can ask him very blank and direct questions about why he was getting students naked and what he was doing with them. And it opens the door, Tim. And so it'll be really interesting to see how that unfolds.
All right, finally, real quick, the defense has basically admitted to the jury, look, what the defendant was doing was inappropriate, but they're trying to make the case it didn't cross that line to criminal behavior.
Yeah, we've heard that from the beginning. This is really the defense strategy, and defense attorney John McDonald said during opening statements to the jurors, what you hear here, you may find inappropriate. Yes, there were naked students. They acknowledged that the students were getting naked with the coach. But they're asking the jury to really look at this under the letter of the law, and it's their position that Thomas did not cross the line.
All right, well, we have complete coverage of this trial on WPRI.com. For Eli Sherman, I'm Tim White.